Welcome to the Marvelous Middle-Age Podcast, where midlife meets growth, purpose, and connection. A place where midlife is not something to survive, but a season to thrive. Here, we're building a welcoming community of people who are right in the middle of life, sharing our stories, learning from one another, and discovering just how meaningful and powerful this season can be. Together, we'll explore the topics that shape midlife, relationships, transitions, health, parenting, careers, and the inner work that helps us thrive. My goal is to encourage you, uplift you, and remind you that midlife can be vibrant, meaningful, and deeply fulfilling. My hope is that you'll feel seen, supported, and inspired to live fully, grow bravely, and embrace the person you're becoming. I'm so glad you're here. Let's navigate midlife together on the Marvelous Middle-Age Podcast. Welcome back to the Marvelous Middle-Age Podcast. I'm so glad you're here today. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever had a moment where someone you love does something and you think, why do they always respond that way? Or maybe the harder question is, why do I always respond this way? That's where the Enneagram can be incredibly eye-opening because it doesn't just tell us what we do in relationships. It helps us understand why. Over the last 9 episodes on the Marvelous Middle-Age Podcast, we've been exploring the Enneagram and how it shapes the way we show up with the people in our lives. We've been talking about something that touches every single part of our lives, relationships, and we've been looking at them through the lens of the Enneagram. And today, we're wrapping up this series on Enneagram and relationships with a few reflections on what we've learned along the way. We've explored how each type shows up in connection with others, how we love, how we protect ourselves, how we communicate, and sometimes how we misunderstand each other. One of the things I love most about the Enneagram is that it doesn't put us in a box. Instead, it gives us language for the patterns we're already living in. It helps us see ourselves a little more clearly, and maybe even the people we love with more compassion. Because when we understand our motivations and the motivations of the people around us, something really powerful happens. We begin to move from reactivity to curiosity, from frustration to understanding, from judgment to grace. And if you're anything like me, you may have found yourself thinking about your spouse, your friends, your coworkers, your kids, maybe even your younger self while listening to these episodes. That's the beauty of this work. It invites us to pause and ask, what might be going on underneath the surface here? For those of us in midlife especially, relationships start to take on a different depth. We're often navigating long-term marriages and relationships, evolving friendships, adult children, caregiving for parents, work relationships, and new seasons of calling. The Enneagram can be such a helpful companion in this season because it reminds us that growth is always possible. We're never finished becoming. And if you happen to be an Enneagram 2 like me, the helper, you know that relationships are often the center of our world. But one of the lessons the Enneagram has taught me is that healthy relationships don't come from trying harder or doing more for everyone else. They come from self-awareness, honesty, and learning to show up as our whole selves. My hope through this series is that you've gained a few new insights, maybe had a few aha moments, and that you walk away feeling a little more equipped to love the people in your life well, including yourself. Now, before we wrap up completely, I'm really excited to tell you about what's coming next on the podcast. In the next 2 episodes, you're going to hear conversations with 2 incredible women. Both of these women share such meaningful insights, and I can't wait for you to hear their stories. So if you've been enjoying the Marvelous Middle-Age Podcast, make sure you're following or subscribed so those episodes show up right in your feed. The first episode will release April 6th. And if this Enneagram and Relationships series has resonated with you, I would love it if you shared the podcast with a friend, especially someone you've been having those Enneagram conversations with lately. Because sometimes the best conversations start with something as simple as, "Hey, I heard this on a podcast today and it made me think of you." Thank you for being here with me. It means so much that you spend part of your time listening and growing alongside this community. Until next time, remember, this season of life really can be marvelous. Thank you so much for being part of the Marvelous Middle Age Podcast community. I'd love for you to follow the show so new episodes land right in your feed. I'd be so grateful if you left a rating and a 5-star review on the podcast platform you listen on. It's a simple way to help others find the podcast. And if there's a topic you'd love to hear more about, I'd truly love to hear from you. You can email me at themarvelousmiddleagepodcast@gmail.com or send me a DM on Instagram at Nicole Stu. Thank you for listening, for showing up, and for choosing to thrive in this season of life.